Welcome back. You're watching Today, and it's time for our Entrepreneur of the Week. We're talking to Mbavhalelo Mabogo, who's the founder and CEO of Quickloc8. Now, this tech startup is making waves in the taxi industry. The company's flagship product is a real-time taxi fleet management app that helps taxi owners to manage their drivers better, reduce on-road accidents, and improve overall safety in the taxi industry. He joins us in studio to tell us exactly how this works. How are you? And thank you for joining us in studio. Tell us a little bit about the app and why you thought it was so necessary to start a platform that provides the services that Quickloc8 does.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. The goal of Quickloc8 was really just to drive innovation in the taxi industry. You know, ever since the taxi industry started in South Africa, there hasn't been any innovation. But just generally in South Africa, there hasn't been any innovation that has fundamentally changed the way we live. So what we wanted to do was to solve a sophisticated problem that can fundamentally shift the way as South Africans we live and the way we move. And the taxi industry was, a perfect, industry. It transports more people more than any other, transportation industry. It's the number one preferred mode of transport for women and children, and it just goes more places more often, much cheaper. But yet there had not been any innovation at all. So what we wanted to do was to try and come up with technologies that can be able to take it, one frontier and one level better. And that's why Quickloc8, has such significance.
And with the creation of Quickloc8, how are you able to take it to one frontier to the next? We do know, even though it's one of the biggest industries in the country, the data collection and the accuracy of the amount of taxis on the road and the like is not 100% there. So when you were collecting the data and all of the resources you would need to provide the different services that the app provides, how easy or difficult was that to do, given the fact that you're dealing with an industry that has not incorporated technology?
True, that's very true. What was important for us was that we needed to develop the technology with the taxi industry. It was not something that we developed it, in an office and just dropped it down at them. And that's usually where most technologies fail, when they have this elite projection on the industry. So we developed it one taxi at a time. We went to the taxi rank, for example, in Khayelitsha, in the Western Cape, and we discussed with taxi owners, what are your problems, what are your challenges, and then they described them for us, and in 2018 we rolled out the first versions that solved that problems. And the biggest problems that they had at that time was just managing the drivers, managing the movement of the taxis, route compliance, those kind of issues. And that's when, we started to move from that problem to the next one, which is, how much money is my taxi making? What is the amount of people that are being moved from one place to another? And that's when, we started really now moving into the artificial intelligence space. And that's where right now we are. We are rolling it out at multiple provinces. Taxi owners love it because there's a small gap between what they are capable of in terms of technology adoption and the way that we have developed it. Developing it with the taxi owners was a big part of our roadmap into rolling out this technology.
Tell us, as a business, what the challenges were for you as Quickloc8. You've spoken about the challenges of the industry, but as building Quickloc8 and the different resources or services you want to provide, what were some of the biggest challenges, would you say?
There were, this is the first company that we've taken. It's a lot. It's a lot. But, every single time at Quickloc8 offices, when we meet with all the coders and developers and sales and the admin team, we always tell them, this is the furthest we've ever taken any company, because we studied it from the ground. We wrote the software from the ground. We interacted with taxi owners from the ground. And then you had to, work around into setting up the different departments so that you can be like a proper organization. And, being able to have those pillars has allowed us to service, the industry in a way that they are not used to. Because for a very long time, taxi owners, have been given, so to say, garbage products, and tied to contracts that they couldn't get out of them, and they get frustrated. What we wanted to do is to come and go to this list of problems that they have and start knocking out those problems one by one. And that's when, at some point in terms of our development, we went to the Technology Innovation Agency and we said, we have this problem that we solved from 2018. Taxi owners now have adopted technology, and now what we want to do is to take it to another level. We believe that this type of technologies, for example, can solve the problems that a lot of entrepreneurs have shied away from. It's how much money is my taxi making?
Yes.
And we discussed it with them, and we went from the whole process of prototyping to piloting to pre-commercialization, and now this technology is now disrupting the day-to-day operations of the taxis, because taxi owners can operate from home in bed. They can be able to just pick up the app and then be able to see how well their business is operating. And that's how we are evolving this industry, and also preparing it for integration with national department and also provincial department. You cannot talk about integrated transport without the taxi industry. It's not possible.
Yes.
The taxi industry is just too big, to ignore, and too important to the engine, of South Africa.
No, that's absolutely true. Let's speak about your contribution to the economy.
Yeah.
Have you been able to see the kind of growth within the business where you've created job opportunities, a development of critical skills that are associated with digitization, AI, the Internet of Things?
Yeah. That's really the core of where we operate as Quickloc8, right in the Internet of Things, using different artificial intelligence instances to solve problems. We believe in inclusive innovation. So when you're coming up with new products, new technologies, they should be able to include the masses of South Africa. And because of that, we focused on hiring young black talent that can be able to code, that can be able to, develop technologies and solutions and implement them, not just, develop the technologies and shelf them or develop them as hobbies. But what was important was that this technology that we're writing code for right now has to end up in a taxi in Khayelitsha, in Faraday, in Venda. It had to end up in the owner's hand. And every single time when we get this feedback and then we get these taxi owners that are saying, look, I bought another taxi now because of the technology that we are using, that you've given us, I've got much more control on my drivers, I've got much more control on my business as a whole. This is something that, we really celebrate on a daily basis.
Yeah, what's coming up next for Quickloc8 in terms of your expansion and the growth in the medium term? What are you expecting to see as a business?
Right now, the goal is that, every taxi has to run on Quickloc8 technology. That's the vision, We want to get to that point. And the only way that we're going to do it is also to get the right partnership in place. We've got something that is in the works right now, that is in the advanced stages, that can be able to deploy the technology, at a national scale, and maybe even, export this technology to other African states. And that is something that we are really excited about. What's important is that the taxi industry needs to move from where it is to data-driven decision-making. There's a lot of data that we're harvesting. There's a lot of data that, can be beneficial also from the, upstream and downstream suppliers of the taxi industry. We need to investigate why taxi owners are charged so much interest rate. Technology can be able to solve and de-risk some of those issues, from insurances. This whole ecosystem, can be positively impacted by this technology that we're implementing at different stages.
Mbavhalelo, thank you very much for joining us in studio. That is Mbavhalelo Mabogo, who is the founder and CEO of Quickloc8. He did encourage me to speak a little bit of Venda. I did tell him that I'm a Joburg Venda woman and I don't necessarily have that authentic one that comes from back home in Venda. But we thank him for joining us in studio and for making me speak a little bit of my home language.